ladies and gentlemen, of course, the protocol is observed. Definitely, we are just describing and alongside the issues of yesterday, and we have complications there alongside. But that is regards, of course, the issue we have where the issues of the Sudan, of course, border authorities, and is regards and the big issues for me, and then the big issue for the concerns of the people who are particularly the refugees status. If they are Sudanese status, and then I may say for them they're still to the land of Sudan, and fortunately they are not in conflict. Fortunately they are not in different further peace sake, because they are already using the land. They're happy there in the land, and then the land they make it, and then they're using the way they want it. That's why if you look alongside here, the divisions alongside which you come were because of the issues of the mental health issues. That is basically mental health issues which are affecting the younger peoples, the younger women's, and then particularly, let's say, the youth, age division, age 8 to age 50, let's say, or age 45. If that's mandatorily the oldest Sudan of edition 1989. So the use ages 45. If you pass 45 years old, then you are no longer used. That is what they were saying. But if in regard, if we take the most recent updated life status of the world, and then of course the use status is up to, I think, the possibilities of addition of 65, 64. They call it retirement ages between 50 to 60 retirement process. But the year 50 is considered still the use ages. So they mostly call those guys elderly, and then on regards an overview. So let's see, on occasions, of course, we have areas. If we talk of Sudan, of course, Sudan from Saudi Arabia, Sudan from Libya, Sudan from Egypt, to Sudan to DRC, Sudan to Uganda, Sudan to Kenya, and then of course this is Sudan also. And as we said, Sudan is a big land, of course. There is a big land like a DRC, of course. If you look at the DRC map, you look at the Sudan map, is big. But what is the if we are big heart, and then what is that really putting us too small, to sit and still, to sit and have issues describing our hearts, and then of course tolerating what is available alongside mental health. So if for the events, and then for the ceremonies, and then for the clubs, and then now let's say that if we say that this is it for the clubs, and then this is for the event, this is for the ceremonies, and then as the refugees status, of course, here we describe for you, we come with the pictures. The pictures tackles the Sudanese, East African, Canadian abroad, and then they tackle those guys. If this is the passport cases, our passport said here, your parents, they are born in Sudan, but coming to Canada, you were born in the refugee status. I'm born in the refugee status. Elderly, I'm raised with the I'm born in Canada standards, which is still also a refugee status, and I'm still a young. And if there's the situations and there's the scenarios, with those fulfillments and then what we expect, those people participating fully to understand that portion, to participate fully to understand the refugee status, if there's in the land. Of course, the land is big, the people using, they are our families, and then that's why we are calling Sudan for that purposes, because they're still our families. And if myself, I'm a refugee, I'm a refugee status, and I'm a Sudanese, East African, Canadian, and then of course, yes, I still have families there, and then that's why I still call that for the purposes. So let's say it. In the event, of course, Egypt in Kakuma, Kenya. And then in the event, let's say DRC in Kakuma, Kenya. In the event, let's say Sudan in Kakuma, Kenya. And then in the event, let's say Somalia in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Eritrea in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Ethiopia in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Central Africa in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Chad in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Rwanda, Burundi in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Uganda in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say Kenya in Kakuma, Kenya. In events, let's say South Africa in Kakuma, Kenya. And then that is the scenarios of the Libya in Kakuma, Kenya. And then Saudi Arabia is in Kakuma, Kenya. And then if that is the portion, portionally part of the event for these 11 leaders in Kakuma, Kenya, and then with their excellencies, and then with their honors to participate fully, of course, in this meeting, which will be held in Kakuma, Kenya, and then to furtherly see the situations, judge into the situations, and then act into the situations of these refugees status who leave this Sudan border. And then, of course, they migrate on foot, walk into this area, and then they settle alongside. If we take example, this one, Kakuma. Kakuma is a huge number of refugees with more than 10 countries, African countries. That's why we say let's work there and then compare that scenario. So for that purposes, so that is why we mentioned so, and that's why we were able, that way we will be able to observe the Ethiopian, we will be able to observe Egypt, Eritrea, you name it, alongside in the same area. If they were marked as zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, of course, that's vis-a-vis the criteria and the capacities, which is alongside that, and then affecting and not affecting. But in the resolution, there is advantages and disadvantages vis-a-vis facing these people there with the challenges, of course. So if these are the people, the tallest Sudanese people, the tallest, the tallest are the most notorious. They say they are armed rocks. They say they are cattle raiders. They raise their cattle with the arms, and then because they are cattle keepers, yeah. And then if there's the scenarios, and then what situation can we observe from alongside here in these regions, if there is mostly the cases of this division is accelerated by the most tallest people. If I'm the shortest among the shortest Sudanese, and still my shortestness is not me and all in my families, still in my family I also have tallest people in my families. So we are still tall, and I'm still short. But if we talk of the tallest, the tallest people, the Nilotics people. So that is basically the Nilotics. And then if we talk of the Luos portionally, the Luos portionally, the Nilotics. So vis-a-vis, that is based to that, and then we know exactly what it refers to, and then what they are really embarking upon. So alongside the areas down there. So that's why our faculties remain fulfilling and then partaking also the effort of this map, the privilege of this map, taking it to the limits that people may understand, and then to limit that people may respect, and then to limit that people may get it, and then to limit that people may oversee. So if we talk of these are the people we try to show you yesterday alongside on the photos. Of course, we show you these photos of these peoples, and then we demonstrated for you guys these photos, and then of course these are the Sudanese we show you guys yesterday, and then vis-a-vis, and then the vis-a-vis. So our concentration, of course, is this one here. This is the map of Sudan, of course, you know, and then what advantages we want to bring alongside here. So that is the advantages, and then that we can of course introduce to our border, and then to our countries. So if mine is the case of them fixing the borders. So if those guys they are after their countries, they want the countries, their aim is the countries, and then mine is the aim is issuing the border only, the border authorities, so that I will be also there recognized as a Sudan, not another countries, not another areas which they already cut and then falling away, where I'm not myself and my families, we are not defended, and then there is no securities, no business, no recognitions, whatever we work there, no paid, and then whatever we developed, yeah, we can pay ourselves, we can hire ourselves, we can create jobs, we can create different development there, and then those development won't be recognized. You write your name, business name, the guy won't recognize, will hit another auto as if the auto is taking me to another countries. That's why I feel that there my business field not secure. If my business field not secure, what is secure down there I should do first is remember I stand in Sudan, whatever how hard that is, the business, my business is registered in Sudan border. And then that's why I'm fixing to ensure this name, this bank is stamped, read alongside the address I put in Sudan as this bank, will pop up in Sudan. Like this is London, Ontario, Canada. And then this London, Ontario, Canada won't tell me that I'm in England. You know that? This is London, Ontario, Canada. So that's why my business here in London, Ontario, Canada is read in London, Ontario, Canada. So it won't read in London, Canada, London, UK. So that is for that reason. So if now I write my name, this bank, so the other guy there will take it, will read South Sudan, will read Sudan. You know that? So if you say I'm lying, try yourself. Go to the border side of Sudan, border side of Uganda, go to the border side of DRC, go to the border side of Central Africa, go to the border side of Ethiopia, and then go to the border side of Kenya, and then try down there if the name will work down there for you. Your business name will read Sudan. It won't read Sudan. So that's SPLA-based regions, and then that is a warlord region. So everything down there is protected with another country, is mistreated already. So that's why we have no voice, no nothing. That's why we have to ensure people get us clear for that reasons and then for that purposes. So if these people gather there and then many years, they've been there over 20 years, they've been there over 30 years. So we say, yeah, this is good institution. Let's give them the privilege to run themselves alongside this area, this country where they are in as a refugee, Kakuma, let them become now a city. Let's start Kakuma as a city for these refugees and then let them live there. If whatever that country becoming Sudan is not longer safe for them, let them born more children and then let the children grow up, either they will go back or no. Let's see. If no, and then let's try to manipulate another issues or another human natures, and then alongside those areas that agree and that are conquered, yeah, we are safer here. We can obey and we can work. That is when the orders may be alongside available with the Sudan. So that's why they may multiply, they may work, they may create what is available and then fulfill. But now that is for that purpose and for that regards. Otherwise, there is nothing we can do very much. If myself, I said, yeah, this is me here in London as a Sudanese, and then those guys, they are saying they are not Sudanese. That's why we said, if you say you claim you are not a Sudanese, and then you're confusing me, you're confusing everybody who are going to buy from the store. How fast do you expect yourself as if you say you are not a Sudanese, and then now my migration paper is saying all here, this guy is a Sudanese refugee, but he came from Uganda, but he came from Egypt, but he came from Kenya, but he came from South Africa. And then how possible do you expect is the guy gonna become? I'm already a Sudanese there. You want my status to change. How will my status be changing? That is already a lie, because that is how I'm making the money. If you expect all my doing is not seem good for you, you want to demolish them, you want to ensure this is all rubbish, and then of course that is the dilemma down there for you. It's not my dilemma, and then it will be your dilemma, it will be your regret, because you cannot say it to people. Whatever it comes to saying, that is not saying. You are just grabbing the opportunities out of the weaknesses which you have already scratched. This is a weakness. Let me just pop up somewhere there as a resolutions, and then take the effort to another level. That is a failure. People are failing around because of that kind of issues. So respectively and organizably, of course, we seek these excellencies of these 11 countries alongside the border of Uganda, alongside the border of Sudan, to participate fully, and then as a Sudan leaderships, and then let them come and then work this area, this camp, and then resolute and then find this solution, because these are evident. We stand for you, these people. We say these are the people here, because they said, yeah, I'm a Sudanese, East African, Canadian. That's why my status here is Canadian. And then now I sit in the office. I have 41 PowerPoint plaque of the city of Canada, Canadian cities. I have 41 PowerPoints. And then I work now. I'm no longer gonna work even for Sudan. How much money they pay me back? I want them to pay me. How do you expect if you borrow $20 from Sudanese, and that you expect that is a payment? It's not a payment. This is a voluntary give out to people. If you come here because you say, yeah, this is you who is providing the energy, because the other guy is a saint, doesn't participate, and then you want from them $5 every time. $5, bring $5, bring $5. If you cannot bring, I cannot do for you that jobs. Is that the solutions? That is not the solution here. So what are the solutions down there? Your development is your own development. How did you begin anyway in the office? You don't know there will be a benefit for you, abundant benefit at the end of that topics. If it's a small topics, of course, at the end of each topic, each student will understand a certain thing into full meaning. Of course, if the topic was clearly introduced, of course, that topic which the student fully understand will take it to another level to the most, and then they will put it into exercise. If they divorce that topics, or if they abort that topics, that's when the topic is very irresistible for them, and then it is not their hobby. If their hobby is not biology, of course they will quit biology. But what else? The biology is very compulsory in all the schools, high schools. Biology very compulsory. What is not compulsory could be the chemistry, could be the physics, could be agriculture, and then could be what you call political science, and then could be what you call economics, and others, which on occasions others, maybe French, maybe Spanish, maybe which one, yeah, you name it. And then that could be the water and compulsory subjects. But if it comes to mathematics, very compulsory. English, very compulsory. You want it, you will fail it. You don't want it, you can pass it. So that is a must for everybody. But there are some other things which become very optional. You can choose it, you can leave it, you can choose it, you can leave it, you can choose it, you can leave it. Because head of the human beings is the head of another individuals. That's why if it comes to Sudan matters, is a matter which is too difficult. If you expect you can manage it, you manage it in Sudan. If you cannot manage it down there, that's why my name is what? A Sudanese East African Canadian for that purposes. The whole thing becomes for me optional. But if it comes to that battlefield, I can participate fully, and then I will not evacuate about it. And then I will keep mentioning. And then I will make yourself who is there alongside of the land. You will look even opposite. What is your use, as this is you holding the land down there, and then making the benefit out of the land. What is the use of that copyright that you cannot manage, and then you cannot do over and do over. And then you want other people who already do. Their name is a Sudanese East African Canadian. You want them, you're forcing them to go and do for you that copyright, other than you there in that countries doing the copyright. If your name is like my name, and then you should be doing that copyright, and then educating these people like I'm educating. That is the participation which we are doing. As if we said, yeah, this is to this classroom. At the end of each lesson, each student must understand the meaning of these words, and then the meaning of the issues of these which we bring here. Each student must understand, and each student head must be equipped, so that they will be able to exercise, so that they will be able to revise their notes at home as a homework, as which one, and then that is your duty as a school teacher, if that is the regards. Otherwise, that is just overview to overview, and then of course, that is just a scratch wherever the possibility is, and then that is that, and then it's me, White Hassan, as is it all.